Good morning and welcome to Fixit Finance. Hope you guys had a very wonderful week or are having a wonderful week if this is part of your week still. Because some people do shift work and Saturdays like their Monday. Okay. Welcome to Fixit Finance. We have a good one for you today. Today we are talking about how to simplify your finances. I'm just gonna go live on Instagram and then we will get rocking. Um okay. We are live on Instagram, I believe. And then one more share, and then we will get into the topic of today. Um, okay, just give me 2 seconds. And then we will be live everywhere. Okay, so today we are talking about how to simplify your finances. Hello, Minister Rosie. Minister Rosie. Hello. Okay. How are you? Welcome. So, like I mentioned today, we are talking about how to simplify your finances. Minister Rizio, I see you. I see you very well. Okay. Welcome to Fix It Finance. I help you take control of your money on this channel. And the biggest reason why is so that you can be free to seek God and follow what God wants you to do. You understand? Because when you have money problems, it's very hard to concentrate, you know. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I drop short videos pretty much every day now, and then long form videos at least once or twice a week. So make sure you click the notification bell so you know when those videos are available. Check out the short videos. You are definitely guaranteed to learn something. I know I do even when I watch mine. So let me toot my horn small. I go live on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. So, I take questions on here on Instagram and on YouTube for now. And then, we kind of get into the session and we go from there. Okay, let's get right into it just because of time. Today we're talking about how to simplify your finances. So a lot of times, when you're going through this financial process or this financial makeover process or the whole point, the whole process of getting your life together, one of the things I talk about here at Fix Your Finance all the time is to simplify. You can always get complicated later, you understand? But while you're still trying to get your bearings and get your financial life in order, the best thing you can do for yourself is to simplify, like keep it as simple as possible. Okay. So I'm going to talk about a few things today. I have quite a lot, but I don't think I'm going to get through everything. But we'll get through as much as we can in our time. And then, if we need to, we'll do a part two. But I'm hoping we won't need to. Okay. The first thing that you should do if you are trying to simplify your finances is to align your bills with your paychecks. Okay. So some of you get paid twice a month. Someone like myself, I get paid once a month. When I first took this job, I was like, hey, what am I going to do getting one paycheck a month? And I actually ended up really, really loving it. Okay. I love having one paycheck a month because I can schedule things and I know, okay, so someone like my husband, he gets paid every 2 weeks. So we have like a mix and match. We align all our bills with our paychecks. Okay. So we know the things that are coming out on XYZ day, all the bills that have to come out with the first paycheck, the bills that have to come out with the second paycheck, the bills that have to come out with my paycheck at the end of the month. Okay. So make sure you align match your bills with your paychecks. If you get paid on the 15th, there's no point having a bill come out on the 7th. You're just going to put yourself through unnecessary stress. Okay. If you get paid, say, on the 15th and the 31st of each month, align your bills to come out either on the 15th or the 16th. Okay. If you get paid, for example, twice every 2 weeks, change your mortgage instead of once a month mortgage, maybe change it to every 2 weeks. You understand? Whatever works with your lifestyle and with the kind of progress that you're trying to make financially. The second thing you can do to excuse me to simplify your finances, and I've said this before, I'm saying it again, reduce the number of accounts you have. Some of you have 20 different bank accounts. What are you again? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, it's just when you're trying to get, like, when you're trying to lift off. Okay, okay, let me use this scripture. This passage has really helped me tremendously this past month. I was discussing it during my therapy session recently, and it was me that was teaching the therapist. Can you imagine? Okay, so I was reading this passage about pruning, where Jesus talks about the father when he wants to cause something to grow even more. Okay, so a tree that is bearing good fruit, he takes that tree, he prunes it so it can bear more fruit. Okay, so that's exactly what we're talking about today, in the sense of simplify your finances, remove all those weights, all those things, those ankle biters, those annoying things that occupy your mind and territory in your brain. You understand? Remove them, get rid of it, so you can simplify your finances, so you can run faster, okay, into where you're trying to get to. If you have 14 different bank accounts open or 12 different credit cards, it's hard to keep track, okay, especially when you don't yet have the discipline. What we're trying to do here is to build that discipline. Once you have the discipline, it's much easier to manage multiple accounts. For example, when we simplified, we still use only one credit card till this day. I know there are a million and 10 reasons to have 45 different credit cards. We like it that way. We keep it simple. We use one checking account. Okay, we have different savings accounts for different goals, which is kind of the point I have. There's a point I have here. It says, unless otherwise needed, you don't need more than one checking account. Okay, 1 to 3 saving accounts for goals. So, for example, we have one account that has our emergency fund, another account that has that's supposed to have all our different annual bills. So things that we pay on an annual basis, things like insurance and whatnot. So we're supposed to be contributing monthly into that account. Then when the bill comes due, we take it from that account and we move on. And then a third for other goals. Let's say you want to buy a new car in the next 5 years, or you want to save for a down payment and blah blah blah. Okay, you can use savings accounts for stuff like that, for goal tracking. But for the most part, your operating account, you don't need more than one. Okay, keep it as simple as possible. This helps. It just takes unnecessary. It removes. It frees up bandwidth in your mind for you to use to process other things. Okay. Um, for example, like I mentioned, you don't need more than one credit card. For now, again, while you are building discipline, you don't need more than one of every single thing. Sometimes some people have 3 or 4 lines of credit. That's just overly complicated, especially if you're now taking from one line of credit to pay off the other line of credit. And it's kind of, just face the music, if you know what I mean, and keep it simple. Okay. Um, so if you can, like I mentioned, you can expand again once you've gotten that discipline in place and you have established. A time will come when you do need, for example, say more than one credit card, or when you do need more than one checking account for whatever reason. Okay, if that time comes, then you can expand again. But for now, simplify so you can gain control and mastery over your finances. Okay. Next thing you want to do if you are trying to simplify your finances is to merge your accounts as a couple. So, for example, what I mean by merge is, so a lot of people think when you get married, or as when you're courting, don't join accounts if you're courting. But when you get married, you're supposed to open a joint account, blah blah blah. I find it's much simpler. For example, let's say husband banks with BMO, wife banks with Scotia, rather than open a third account in a third bank or a third account in either one of those banks. Simply add each other on the 2 accounts. So husband add wife to BMO, wife add husband to Scotia. Then decide which of those checking accounts you're going to use as your primary checking. Okay, and then spread from there, in the sense of pay all your bills. Let all the paychecks come into one account. Let all the bills go out from one account. Okay, then if you want to give each other allowances, or you want to give each other spending money or whatnot, let it also come from that account. It just simplifies things like so easy. You understand? Instead of saying, "Oh, I will pay the mortgage and you will pay the phone bill, and then I will pay the this and you pay." In Canada, whether you like it or not, the fact that you have married, if anything happened, they are going to combine everything together, okay, and divvy it accordingly. So might as well do the process. You understand? Then the other reason why you want to do this, which has to do with quote unquote end of life issues. If anything were to happen to you, if you've not added your spouse to your bank account, your spouse cannot access that bank account, even if they are your spouse, unless you have a will and anything in place that says they can access that bank account. So it's not automatic. And you need to understand why. If you have a culture whereby, for example, someone is on their third marriage, if the first wife comes and says, "I'm his wife, I want to," you understand? So you need to make sure that your spouse is on the other account, especially if you have money there. Okay. Because next of kin rules is what's going to kick in if anything were to happen to you, God forbid. If you don't have it in place already, make sure you put beneficiaries on all your accounts. Okay. And then make sure you add each other to your um primary checking accounts. Okay, I have a question here. Apart from ease of access, what other reason would you give for saving in a savings account with minimal interest versus investing? Okay, so there are 3 tiers. There's a savings account, which is the one you get in a normal bank. There's a high interest savings account, okay, which is where you get a little more interest than the regular savings. The regular savings will pay you 28 cents on $10,000. Okay, a high interest savings account will pay you upwards of 3% on $10,000. Okay, so if you want to, so what I'm talking about here, for example, the way we operate our households, I don't use any savings in any of our banks just because the interest rate is useless. Instead, we save our money in high interest savings accounts. So we use, for example, Wealth Simple, there's EQ Bank, there's so many out there. They're called high interest savings accounts. That's where we put all our savings for different savings goals. Okay, so this saving I'm talking about is not the saving account in your bank. I'm talking about a high interest savings account. And with most of them, EQ Bank and Co, you can open multiple. So for example, you can have one that has your emergency fund. You can have another that's for, they call them sinking funds. Okay, I don't like that word, sinking fund. I don't know what you're sinking to, but it's basically things that bills that you have to pile up because they're going to come out. So for example, I mentioned we pay our insurance annually. So what happens is throughout the year, we're supposed to be saving, let's say, $200 a month in that account. So when the bill comes due, we just take that money and pay off, the insurance that comes out. But that money is sitting in a high interest savings account that's making, at least I think currently World Simple is paying 3.25. EQ Bank, I think, is paying 4% or something. You understand? And you kind of go from there. Okay. So in terms of merging accounts, I think I've talked about the reasons why you want to do it. The other thing you want to do when it comes to merging accounts is to merge things like your cell phone, insurance, and all those other things. For example, if the wife is with Fido, the husband is with Rogers. It's kind of technically the same company, but if you speak to Rogers or you speak to Fido, you can get them to give you a deal for bringing your spouse over. You understand? My husband and I ended up saving tremendous amounts of money by doing that. So we are on the same cell phone plan. Okay. We're on the same insurance plan. We're on the same on a lot of accounts. We are on the same account. Okay. There's no point having operating two different profiles or operating two different quote unquote households in the same household. You can save a lot of money. For example, if the wife is with one company, because there's only one line there, she might save maybe $10 a month. But then if she brings in another line, they're gonna save her $40 a month. Okay. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already done so. Another way to simplify your finances is to eliminate no use or underused expenses. Things like if you are still paying for gym that you're not using, just cancel it. Face it. It's okay. Don't be in denial. Own it with your chest that you don't go to that gym. Cancel it. Okay. Then walk around. Walking is free. You understand? Or use your school's gym if you still have access to your school's gym, or use your church's gym if they give you access. I'm just saying, if you're not using your gym membership, just face the music, cancel the membership. It's all right. Nobody will judge you. I promise. Nobody will judge you. Okay. If you're not really using Netflix like that, and there are people that barely watch their Netflix, cancel it. You understand? Or maybe if you have other people that are using it, sure. If you just want to sow it as a seed in their life, no problem. But if you're not using Disney Plus, cancel it. If you're not using Canva Plus, cancel it. You understand? There's so many things a lot of us pay for that we're not using. Anything you are underusing or you don't use at all, cancel it. You understand? For example, you might have access to a particular platform because you're doing a business that is in line with that right now. If you stop doing that business, switch, like cancel it. Okay. I think I flogged that enough. But monthly or annual subscriptions you're not using or you are barely using, cancel it for now. You can always sign up again later. It's even good if you sign up later, because then you'll be a new customer. They will give you better deal. Okay. The next thing you want to do to simplify your finances is to automate your bills. What does that mean? Set it up such that they automatically take it from your account. That said, there is a caution though. Always make sure there is enough room between when the bill is released and when the actual payment comes out. So that gives you time to review the bill and call them to, have any discussions you need to have so that you don't end up overpaying. Okay. So for example, things like your utilities, your mortgage, your rent, wherever possible, automate it. That one, it stays the same every single month. Let them pull it out whenever they need to pull it out and move on with your life. But things like cell phone, internet, etc, automate it, yes, but let it be that, say they release the bill on the 1st, they are not going to take the payment until, say, the 7th or the 15th. You understand? That way you have enough time to look at your bill, because I do that a lot. I check my bill all the time. Forget, say, you are doing Fixit finance. I don't used to mess around with all these vendors, because so long as it's human beings behind it, there is propensity for mistake. For example, I just switched internet providers, and my previous provider that I canceled sent me a final bill. You understand? Not knowing that me, Ogbologbo Ministries, I'm in the street when it comes to finances. They were going to charge me for different things. I called them. I said, excuse, who are you charging for what? They canceled my bill until it was $0. Imagine if I had it automatically set up whereby the payment will come out. So if you're not paying attention, that payment would have come out and I'll be out 100 and something dollars. But you'll just be like, oh, okay, they just took their final bill. No, because they charge you a month ahead. And of course, I knew this. I was like, okay, you can't charge me for this because the current provider canceled it a day late. So they were going to charge me for a whole month because it was a day late. I was like, you and your father's ministries are doing what? Anyways, this is why I say when you automate your bills, like things that are variable in nature, so things like your cell phone, internet, things that fluctuate, things like that, or things whereby they can charge you, especially if you're going to put your credit card on file, make sure there's enough time between when the bill is sent and when you make the payment, so you can call them to argue any argument you want to argue. Okay, I have all my bills automated, cell phones, everything. It's just I check my bill as soon as it's released. I look at all the fine print, all the charges. The one I don't like, I'll call them, remove it. Okay, because again, you want to make sure you have enough time to review the bill and take up any disputes. Okay. Automating helps you avoid things like NSF fees, which is a fee they charge you for insufficient funds. Okay, but if you've planned it around your paycheck, you should not be getting NSF fees. So, for example, if you get paid on the 15th and you make your bills come out on the 16th, that way you can avoid any of the charges that the bank, and they will charge you. So, in fact, sometimes the most annoying thing is the bank will charge you, the vendor that you do not pay will charge you. This country, it is well. Okay. If, for example, your vendor picks a date for automatic payments that does not work for you, you can always call them to change it. So, for example, let's say they automate it such that they're going to take the bill out on the 7th, but you get paid on the 15th. Call them and ask, can they move it forward? Most vendors would actually accommodate whatever date you want, or they will give you different options. So, for example, some might say, for example, with mortgages, for example, they will usually say it's either it goes bi-weekly or the first of the month. Okay, so pick the one that works for you and move on. Okay, some vendors like insurance companies, they are happy to accommodate. They will take the bill payment whatever date you give them. Okay, so most vendors are open. The ones that are not, just whatever date they say, okay, then you just know you have to plan around it. Okay, I see a comment. Michael says, cancel the use of the dryer. Yes, me, I hang clothes to dry. If I may wash 3 or 4 loads of laundry, I'm only going to run my dryer once. The rest are going to be hung. They are just going to hang. I have hangers and I have a rod and I have everything, just because those are the kind of ways, those are the simple ways you can, reduce your expenses that don't necessarily involve too much thinking. Okay. Um, the next thing to do to simplify your finances is to consolidate your investments. Okay. Some of us, we have investments with Manulife here, then we have with Equitable Life there, then we have with Wealth Simple, we have with Questrade, we have the one with our office, then we have the one with 2 jobs ago that we did not carry, then we have the one with our friend. I'm joking here, but basically what I'm trying to say is merge your investments. So, for example, personally, I only use 2 brokerage accounts. I mentioned one I use where they have high interest savings accounts. That's with Wealth Simple. The next one I use is Questrade. I keep my life very simple. All the monies from my previous jobs that were in my RRSP and whatnot that they gave me, I've moved everything into one account because I don't like, I don't like my when the Bible talks about don't cast your pearl before swine. I know it's not necessarily swine, but casting your pearls, it's just like it's everywhere. I like all my things gathered. Okay, so gather your investments. For example, you left a job 3 summers ago. They gave you a pension or they gave you RRSP, TFSA. You need to call them, follow up with it, and move that money into something you are operating currently. Okay, move those funds. When I say move them, don't cash it. For example, if it's an RRSP, don't cash it such that they send it to your checking account first and then you move it. No, you can do a direct account to account transfer. So long as you have the account number and your information on that account is current. Literally, Questrade, Wealth Simple, whoever you're going to use, Q Trade, there are so many options for brokerages. RBC has brokerage, BMO has brokerage, Scotia has brokerage. Whichever one you're using, tell them to move the money directly from that account and move it into your current investment account. Okay. I keep my investing very simple. I only have 2 brokerage accounts, and that's because In fact, I would have had only one safe. The only reason is one does not have RESP and I have a child now. That's the only reason. I mean, they have RESP, but not the way I want it. I wanted something I could control. So that's the only reason I have two. Okay. Buy all you need. Most all brokerages, most of them have access to everything. So unless you're overly sophisticated in your investing, you don't need more than what most of them have to offer. Don't be carried away by offers or incentives to open an account. For example, they will say, oh, we'll give you $50 to move your RSP here. You're going to go and open an account again. Just be careful. It's easy to get carried away with some of their offers. For example, they will say, oh, for example, there's one particular bank that was doing an incentive offer. They will give you iPad to move all your accounts. But when you look at how much this particular bank charges in fees to people, that iPad, you will pay for it 10 times. Okay. So sometimes not all offers are good. The other one I saw recently, there was a particular bank. I was doing some research on mortgages. They're offering you up to $4,000, or be $4,100 to lock in your mortgage between now and November. In an environment when interest rates are going down, you see, anyways, that's not why we're here. We're not talking about how people get taken advantage of financially today, but that's another reason. So don't get carried away and be moving up and down because of offers. Oh, we're going to give you $100 today to bring all your accounts. Keep it simple. Okay. Again, move items from your company. I think I've mentioned that before, but make sure you do it. If you've left a job and you left a TFSA, RRSP, or pension there, make sure you move those accounts today. Look into how you can move it. Ask questions. If you don't know, ask me. I will give you whatever insights you need. The next thing you want to do to simplify your finances is to get a will and life insurance in place. I say this here all the time. Make sure you have a will, make sure you have life insurance. And the life insurance we encourage you to get is term life insurance, a term 20 policy. So term 20 meaning a 20-year policy, or term 30. Universal life insurance pushers and whole life insurance pushers will tell you, if you do term, you are renting, you are not owning, you are it's just sales tactics. Most of them don't understand the product they are pushing. I've done a few sessions on Fixit Finance, and if you've been following me long enough, you know it, you know quite a bit about why you should not choose universal life or whole life. Again, I had universal life for over 10 years. I had two different universal life policies. I also had my license as an agent. So trust me, I'm speaking from experience here. But I won't flog that horse too long just because of time. The next thing you want to do to simplify your finances is to track your net worth. Okay. It is the simplest and easiest way to keep track of your overall financial health. Okay. Make sure you track your net worth. Ideally, it should increase every month if you're living on less than you make. If you make 5,000 a month and you're only spending 4,000 or 4,005, ideally your net worth increases every month. Okay. You want to set it up such that your net worth increases every month. If you're paying off debt, your net worth is increasing. Okay. So don't flog it too much and say, okay, I spend the whole 5,000. If after the 5,000 you're using 1.5 to pay off debt, your net worth is increasing. Just make sure you keep track of it. What you own minus what you owe. That is the formula. What you own minus what you owe. If you own a car that you can sell for 20,000 and you owe 10,000 in it, your net worth is 10,000. 20,000 minus 10,000. So what you want to do is at the top, open Excel or even piece of paper and biro. Everything you own, put it at the top. Everything you owe, put it at the bottom. Top minus bottom, that is your net worth. Okay. Update it quarterly, update it annually. I update mine annually. Okay. Choose your frequency. I used to update it more often, but now that I have a better hang of how things are going, again, because I have my financial operations in order, I know every single month my net worth is increasing because I'm either paying off debt or saving and investing. Okay. That way, you don't need to keep track of it that often. But I would say to start, check it every quarter to make sure it's actually increasing. If you're going from minus 90,000 to minus 80,000, your net worth has increased. Just keep going and go from there. A good way is it's one of the best ways to know the state of your flock. Okay. As you know, that's one of my favorite quotes on money from the Bible. Know the state of your flock. This is part of why we're doing this discussion today, so you can know the state of your flock. Okay. So make sure you keep track of your net worth and go from there. The next thing that you want to do to simplify your finances is to declutter and embrace minimalism. Okay. When I say embrace minimalism, you don't necessarily have to go deep into the rabbit hole of minimalism. And you see, Stephen Condo, no, not Stephen Condo, Marie Kondo. Stephen, where did I hear Stephen from? Okay, Marie Kondo and Co. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to go that deep. Okay. But as much as possible, declutter and embrace minimalism. Life is not defined by what you have, even when you have a lot. Okay. Especially in this part of the world, in North America, because consumption is so easy and everything is so accessible. Amazon, same day, next day. You understand? Before you know it, your entire house is filling up with stuff. Okay. And when you have too much stuff, it tends to affect you psychologically too. So as much as possible, declutter. Go through your house, donate, trash, or sell items you're not using. Okay, one of the strategies I give people here of Fixifighters, if you want to buy something, okay, let's say you want to buy a new heater or space heater, for example, rather than spend money you have, why not find something in your house you can sell on Facebook Marketplace to raise the money to buy that heater? Okay, so that way, two have cancelled for you understand? In the sense of you've taken something that you don't necessarily use, you've sold it in order to acquire something you do need. Okay. And that way you're not spending new money, you're spending, money that you already had. Okay. So that's one way to do it. But as much as possible, go through your house, donate, trash, or sell items you're not using. Don't be attached to stuff. Some of you are still keeping one bag. You've not used the bag. Oh. But you've been keeping it saying I'll carry it for special occasions. This special occasion have not come and it's been 6 years. My friend, donate it, give it out, dash it to somebody. Even if it's designer, give it to somebody. Be generous. Okay. Don't hold it. I'm going to carry this bag for my son's 40th. God forgive me. But you know what I mean. Don't hold on to stuff. Like let it go. Okay. Um if you have children, make them do this as well. Donate their toys and whatnot. Okay, make it a game. Who can give away the most? You understand? Um, and then of course, before, like I mentioned, before buying items, consider thrifting. Okay. If you have a friend, for example, I mentioned on this channel when I had my son, I had a friend who had a son a year before me, and she was gracious enough to give me a lot of stuff. I didn't have to buy clothes for my son until well into a couple of months after he was born. And even at that, she still gave me a whole bunch more. Okay. She gave me a bassinet. She gave me different things. So I didn't have to spend money on a lot of things. And it's someone that I know and trust. You understand? So same thing, if you're having a child, rather than go and buy all this new stuff, do you have friends that have just had children recently? Why not take some of the stuff they have that is still good quality? You understand? That's just one way to do it. Okay. If you don't like going to the thrift store for clothes, for example, go there for other things. Things like, uh, uh, uh lamps or air fryers, or things that you can easily just use without necessarily attracting, if you're a germaphobe, whatever. Okay. As much as possible, consider going without for a short time. Let's say you want something, you don't have to buy it right away. Maybe take some time to actually think, pause, spend 3 days to see if you really need it. Okay, consider going without. It's an option. Okay. Or you consider renting or borrowing the item you need. You don't necessarily have to buy it, you can rent it. For example, let's say you have a project that requires a truck twice a month. Okay. And I've seen people do this. You have a project, you need a truck twice a month because you do deliveries or you do whatever. The person will go and carry a brand new truck with $1,100 payment in the name of, I have a project I need every month. I need a truck every month. Okay. Rather than do that, leave that on the side and rent a U-Haul twice a month. It's going to cost you considerably less than $1,100 a month. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is, as much as possible, don't necessarily go and acquire things unnecessarily. Keep it as simple as possible. Minnie says net worth tracking has been life changing for me being on disability. Yes, net worth tracking is the way to go. It's such a great way to paint whatever. Like, you can't, it's not easy to be in denial when you keep track of your net worth. It's not easy. When you see the first quarter, it did not move. Next quarter, it went the opposite way. It reduced. Then the next quarter, it stayed stagnant. You too, you start thinking like, okay, something needs to happen. Okay, this has to start moving in the right direction. Next thing you can do to simplify your finances is to be open in your communication around money, especially if you are a married person or if you're someone that has, someone you are accountable to. Okay. Money can be such a taboo subject in a lot of cultures. Okay, be it North American, African, whatever. Money can be such a taboo subject. Money, sex, those kind of subjects a lot of people tend to shy away from. Even people are more open about talking about sex these days than money, which is fascinating. Okay. A lot of people appear to have it together, but a lot of people are struggling and drowning. So as much as possible, if you need help, ask for help. Okay. That's one of the reasons I started this channel, so people can ask questions and I can share a lot of the knowledge that I've acquired over the years, just being that I'm in that field and in that line of work personally, and even in my volunteer life. Okay, as much as possible, be naked and unashamed with it. When it comes to talking to money about with your spouse, like, you share everything else. Be open. Okay, communicate openly. This doesn't work for me, or I'm scared about this, or I'm scared about that. A lot of money decisions that people make is from a place of fear, you understand, or from a place of quote unquote trauma that they had when they were small or when they were younger. For example, you were somebody who grew up where there wasn't a lot of food, and now you can spend $2,000 on food because now you have the money and you don't want anybody to tell you otherwise. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just go through that process of being open and communicative with your partner and go through the healing process. Okay, if you don't know, if you don't understand, say it. Okay, if the two of you are clueless, be clueless together. That's okay. Then now you can research together and tackle whatever issues together. Okay, speak plainly, be willing to be vulnerable, even with your parents and siblings. Okay, who are unwilling to engage. For example, when it comes to your finances, if you can't do it, don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. Okay, we've gone through that particular subject in a different video, so I won't go through much. I won't go too much into that. But as much as possible, open communication with your partner, with your family, whoever it is you need to be speaking to. Make sure you do that. Um, there's two left. Okay, so I'm gonna finish it just because the next one is information overload. A lot of us consume way too much information when it comes to finances. You're on TikTok, you will hear today, oh, crypto is not good. Then tomorrow you hear crypto is the way to go. You hear another guru, make sure you pay off all your debt first. Then you hear another guru, forget, don't pay off your debt, invest instead. Then you hear it too much. You're getting too much contradicting information, and it's causing you to have information overload and analysis paralysis, such that you're now in this state of which one should I do, which one should I do, and rather than decide, you stay in that state of which one should I go, left or right, left or right, left or right, left. Leave all that information behind. Keep it very simple, which is what we're talking about today. Stick to one or two gurus per season. I've talked about this in previous videos. As much as possible, when it comes to your finances, choose a guru and stay there and let them serve you in that season. I've mentioned it before. For example, when we were paying off debt and whatnot, our guru in that season was people like Dave Ramsey. In my investing season now, I listen to people like Phil Town and a lot more when it comes to investing. Okay, my point is, stay there in whatever season you're in, or whatever you've chosen to focus on. Only listen to things that help you in terms of what you've chosen to focus on. That's a better way to put it. Thank you, Holy Spirit. If you have decided we are going to pay off debt in this season, leave every other thing and only focus on people that teach on debt and how to pay off debt and how to manage debt, and which way. And once you've chosen a method, let's say you've chosen, I'm going to do the debt snowball method. Only listen to gurus and teachers that teach on the debt snowball. Leave debt avalanche and debt consolidation here. You understand? Only listen to people. Once you've decided, stay in that, like, listen to people that enforce, validate, and whatnot, what it is you've chosen to do. Okay, if you've chosen to invest first, leave all the people that talk about paying off debt first. You understand? My point is, pick a lane, stay there, and focus. The biggest thing is, and I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, focus and follow through is essential. You can hear all the information from now to December. If you don't take action, it's not going to benefit you. Okay, you have to take action so you can see results and stay motivated. Okay, once you pay off that first debt and you pay off the second one, it's easy to stay motivated to continue. Okay, if you start listening to multiple teachers and whatnot, you find yourself abandoning things halfway. You understand? Let's say you start paying off debt, then you hear another teacher that talks about investing, then you leave debt pay off and you switch. Okay, we're going to start investing, and then you're going to look up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you've not achieved either or. Okay, so pick a lane, stay there, focus. If you're going to pay off debt, focus on that. Leave every other thing by the wayside. Last but not least, and there's much more. I've just chosen these ones just because of time. And I think you've definitely learned something. Schedule update days. So if you're the kind of person you don't check your accounts every day and you don't really like finances, schedule a day. For example, choose, say, Sundays or Fridays. Friday evening while you're watching Netflix, that's the time you're going to update your finances for the week. You're going to track all your expenses, look at what you spent, what you didn't spend, update your budget. Review all your accounts, especially your current accounts, to make sure they've not charged you. Sometimes I deal with people sometimes, and then were going through their accounts and there's a charge from January and they're just seeing it in March. That should not be. You should know what's happening in your account all the time, okay? So you can be on top of your game in the sense of, things don't catch you unawares and people are not taking your money and using you to catch crews, for lack of a better word, okay? You want to go through your accounts, review all your current operating accounts, okay? And then make sure the biggest reason you want to do this review is to ensure the decisions you're making, the way you're spending your money, the way you're saving your money, the way you're operating your finances, it's leading you into the direction of the goals you're trying to get to. Like I mentioned, if you're trying to pay off debt, for example, and you're reviewing your finances and you see that you're spending north of $600 a month, for example, on eating out, then that could be a time for you to sit down and analyze and say, okay, do I really need to spend 600? Maybe I should reduce it. Or you want to keep spending 600 and find ways to raise cash in other areas. My point is, it helps you know the state of your flock when you schedule update days. If you're not someone like me, I check my accounts every day. My husband, he might check it once every 3 months. You understand? And that's because he knows I check it every day. Okay. So play to your strengths, especially if you're a couple. But if you're a person that say you're not in a marriage relationship just yet, schedule a day once a week where you go through all things finance, or it could be once a month. As much as possible, I prefer once a week just because you don't want things to catch you unawares. Okay, don't just review, make necessary adjustments. Okay, so if you find, like I mentioned, you're spending too much in one category, find a way to reduce spending in that category, move it elsewhere. Okay, so overall, thank you. I believe that is it. Yes, that's the last one. So overall, the biggest reason why I wanted us to do this topic today is to make sure that we understand simplifying your finances is definitely the way to go, especially if you're trying to get where you're if you're trying to get to the places that we're all trying to get to in terms of financial independence, financial freedom, being able to give generously, being able to, show being able to free up bandwidth and free up space in our mind so we can seek God. You understand? Like I say here all the time, if you have your finances in order, your prayer points will change. It's sure. You understand? Your prayer points will change, okay? So as much as possible, try one or try two or try 10 of all the things we've discussed today, and take it from there. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the extra time. I will see you next week. If you haven't done so, catch up on prior episodes. They're all on my YouTube channel. They're also on Facebook if you're a Facebooker. And then go from there. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week.